Recently, I've picked up a very interesting book. It has a story for every day in the year that will tell you the worst thing that happened on that date. In this video, I will tell you about 5 of these stories. They will show you that even though it can feel like it, your day is probably not as bad as you think it is. Story number 1. The Emperor who took too much Viagra. Let's start with Shah Jahan, the Emperor of India in the 16th century. After the passing of his most beloved wife, for whom he built the Taj Mahal and buried her there, he started searching for someone who could replace her, even in the slightest. The only problem, Jahan wasn't as young as he used to be. So when he found someone he had a big interest in, he needed some help with keeping up. This help came in the form of an early version of Viagra. But instead of taking the normal amount, he went way overboard, and guess what? He became extremely ill and couldn't urinate for several days. Now, while this was already a nightmare scenario, things only got worse. When his sons found out about their father's condition, they immediately sized each other up and started a full-scale war for the kingdom. After a brutal battle, the eldest brother won, defeated the others, and just to rub it in, he sent Shah Jahan the severed head of one of his defeated sons. To make things even better, he locked his father away in a fort for the rest of his life. Shah Jahan spent 7 years in prison, where he finally died in isolation, before being buried next to his wife in the Taj Mahal. Story number 2. The guy who survived 2 nukes. For people who think bad days only happen to them, listen to this. Mr. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima when the atomic bomb hit. It was already a miracle that he survived the explosion, but what happened next will blow your mind. Naturally, he moved away to a different city, Nagasaki, and guess what? That city also got hit by an atomic bomb. But amazingly, he survived this one too. Imagine the shock this man has felt, witnessing 2 of the most horrific events in history firsthand, and despite all that, he lived to be 93 years old. Truly inspirational. Number 3. The guy who didn't want to invest in Apple. You ever feel bad when your investment dip or when you lose money? You really should see things in perspective, because this man had one of the biggest financial losses in history. Mr. Ronald Wayne had a 10% stake in Apple, but he thought it would be a bad investment, so he sold his shares for $800. Maybe not even enough to pay rent for a month. Always trust your gut, but sometimes you've got to take a chance. Story number 4. The most hateable Emperor of Rome. Caligula, Emperor of Rome, was notoriously annoying and unlikable. He even made his horse a government official. Imagine a horse being your boss. At one point, even his bodyguards had enough of him, so they stabbed Caligula 40 times. They must have been really pissed off. If you want to read more about these stories, you can check out the book Bad Days in History in the description below.